Platinum producer Self Service sat down with Math Hoffa in this clip to discuss conflicts over production credits. You know, these days there's a conflict between loop makers and beat makers, or the producer in the studio. Back in the day, it was between the beat maker and the producer / music executive that was in the studio. As the saying goes, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So let's see if that's true. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of this video because he's sure to drop a lot of gems. So let's take a listen.
So you got paid for your first beat?
Yeah, my first 5.
Your first 5?
I got paid for all of them. That's the honest. But it started out at $4 or $5 grand a joint, and it got up to 50 for one joint.
So
after I did the DMX record, What's My Name? When I did the What's My Name record, it was a wrap.
It was over.
Yo, wait. You did that record?
Yeah.
I produced it.
Facts.
Okay. All right. You can keep going.
Yeah.
Classic.
And I got some more shit too. Like,
It's crazy.
I got over 25 platinum records. Like over 25. And it's hard for a producer to say that today, unless you Swiss or Timbaland or Dre.
Yeah.
So I'm humble, but I stopped being humble with this shit because niggas take my credits. You feel me?
Right.
And we talking about Irv. I'll say names.
So break that down. What happened?
I'll start talking.
Niggas
start talking and saying, yo, all right, boom, they made beats, and I did it.
Right.
Period. So when it comes down to it, to be able to have 25 platinum albums and make all them placements is an accolade for real. I bust my ass back then to get to that point. And the shit wasn't easy, but I asserted myself and made the shit work. But after a while, niggas, where I'm mad at, well, not mad, I didn't jump out in Front Street and do the glitz and glamour. I'm not a Front Street nigga.
Right.
I like getting my money and be behind the scenes.
So you saying Irv was taking credit for your beats?
He took credit for the What's My Name record. His name, he didn't do nothing on that beat.
That's what I was going to say. All your beats you did with your hands.
With my hands.
See, a lot of producers, they'll take a beat, put a whistle in it, give him 400.
Now it's
his.
But look, let me tell you, the going thing back then was Puff did it, Irv did it.
Keep going.
I think DNY, not DNY.
No.
Puff, Irv, Jermaine Dupri, certain niggas that had them names, and everybody thought they was the niggas. They was just getting beats from other niggas.
They was signing other niggas.
They had little niggas on it. Dre did it. Man, I know mad niggas that did shit.
That's interesting. You know, Self Service talked about how he really likes to play the background as a producer, and unfortunately it looks like it came to bite him in the behind in certain situations. And same thing is kind of happening with loop makers. A lot of loop makers like to be low key, just off in their little corner in their bedroom, just creating fire melodies, sending it out to people. And you know, the bigger producers will add the drums and then make the play, and then conflict will happen, and then things will start to spill out on most likely Instagram, where everybody's going back and forth and fighting over credits and saying who did what, who's a real producer, who deserves the credit. You know, that same kind of mess is still going on these days. And it's interesting to see how it's a direct correlation between the past and the present. There's the really skilled musical person, and then there's the person who's more in the studio, who's more of the business person, who's closer to the actual artist in the situation. So, you know, like I said in the beginning, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And for context, this video originally came out prior to the passing of Irv Gotti. So let's get back to it and see what else we can pull out of this clip.
They'll come in and just say, all right, when we lay the beat, let me just do this one hat. And now all of a sudden they put their name on as co-producer. That's what Irv did to me for the DMX.
As co-producer.
As co-producer, but
so it wasn't
Irv,
a ghost. It wasn't a ghost producer situation.
No, they put their name on like they did something. Irv, I'm saying, on my DMX record,
right?
It says, and if you watch interviews, if he's in the interview, he don't even mention me.
That's why we have a lot of producers. You ask them, when the last time you physically made a beat? You did this, did that, you. Some dudes ain't made beats in 15 years.
But according to Ninth Wonder, because we had him here too, he said, if you can compose, then you're a producer.
Right.
You don't have to touch a key. You don't have to tell. You could tell. You could see it in your mind and tell somebody you're a producer.
That's where the Herbs and the Puffs and them get it from. They're in their mind, they're producing the record, composing the record. So to them, if Tone come to me and say, yo, I got to be, all right, let me use that for math. But I need to do this to it and move it around a little bit, this and that. Now all of a sudden, I take the credit because I'm the bigger name.
Right.
And the last man that touched it.
Yeah. But the bigger name always get the
most credit. Yeah.
The most credit.
Like Herb, and I know this for a fact, most of all Herb's that came out of Murder Inc. back then was by a producer named Fingers, a producer named Little Rob, a producer named DL, who you met the other day, me. Most of that stuff was done by them. Holla Holla, all the other stuff was done, but his name is on it.
Right.
All right, so now we're getting into the topic of the song producer versus the beat maker more specifically. And one situation that I've ran into myself is the fact that so many artists are getting type beat instrumentals from YouTube, and then I've recorded them, and then at certain points, sometimes the artist and even myself will start to feel like, okay, you made the beat, but I'm doing so much to the beat. I'm cutting it up. I'm changing the verses. I'm switching the outro to the intro. I'm putting all kinds of effects on it, and I'm coaching the artist through the entire process. So a person could put a YouTube type beat up and an artist could use me as a recording engineer, but a lot of artists almost want a finished product whenever they leave the studio, as opposed to going through multiple layers of recording, mixing, mastering. Some artists just want to come in, have something that's almost a final record and just put it out. And if that's the case, then should recording engineers start to even look for credit as producers as well? You know, I'm going to go ahead and throw that in the ring. That might be a controversial take, but sometimes that producer isn't even there. It's just the recording engineer and the artist, and the engineer is technically producing. So let's go ahead and get back into the video.
His name is on it.
Right. But did it help the record seeing Irv Gotti produced it?
It's hard to even say that, to try to judge that thing for knowing from back then, because I was in the middle of all that.
Right.
But I know the producers too. And right now, they're not doing nothing. They hurting some of these niggas. So if it helped anybody, it helped her.
Wow, that's a powerful point. You know, on one hand, there is that argument where it's the bigger producer who's doing all the connecting, who's making the situation even happen, who's directing the entire song. But in that process, the smaller producer, the smaller loop maker can even financially be squeezed out. There's the argument that you have to pay your dues until you actually get to the point where you can start to demand, where you can start to flex up and start asking for your adequate percentages. But, you know, sometimes you keep paying your dues until you're just getting exploited and you're not, you know, asserting yourself to the point that you can actually get what you're owed, or do you keep, you know, quote unquote paying dues, which is, it's a tight rope. It's an interesting balance, but unfortunately, like Self-Service said, you know, it sounds like some of those producers, unfortunately, are hurting financially. But is that a question of what they were owed? Is that a question of financial management? I'm not quite sure. Of course, more detail, more context could be added, but man, that's interesting. You know, all the loop makers, all the beat makers, producers, let me know what you guys think about this point.
Well, how did you protect yourself from that?
I didn't sign to Irv. I stayed freelancing. He gave me a contract. Now, me and Irv Gotti grew up together since kids. Me and Chris like this today, his brother.
Right.
He gave me a contract, and the contract was a Raping You Records contract.
He said, right.
My lawyer said, if you sign this contract, I'm not going to be your lawyer no more. So I went back to him. I said, yo, what is this? He's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? It's my name, my company murdered. I'm like, man, I'm not doing this. But by that time, the DMX record already came out.
So you was good. You was like, oh,
all right, so we ain't doing business? Cool.
You had the leverage.
Right.
I'm gone.
Right.
I already had the lick. He even told me, even if he see this, he gonna remember.
Yeah.
He told me, he said, yo, once that DMX record, you gonna blow, man. You gotta sign this contract. I said, all right, cool.
Waited him out.
That nigga hit me with the dummy contract, pew, gone.
Oh.
And you look at my name, now mind you, my name is on all the credits. But some of them is say the sole producer, some say I'm the main producer and him is co-producer, and then some say he's the producer and I co-produced. But my name is there.
Okay, so it looks like fortunately Self-Service was able to get his production credit listed in the album's liner notes. If you guys don't know what liner notes, those are the notes inside of the CD for all the unks and OGs who are watching this video. Some of the younger producers, younger people may not know what that is. And with that, other artists and other people in the music game can find him and say, okay, I like that sound. I could reach out to him to also possibly work with my recording artists. And, you know, unfortunately, some people don't do that today, and some people didn't do that back in the day. So fortunately, his brand was out there as well, on top of Irv Gotti's, which is definitely going to help in situations for future business. But let's get back to the clip.
How did the percentages get broken down?
It was too. We know how this shit work, right? 100%, 200 really on certain societies. So it's the 100. Let's just work with the 100. 150 go to the writer, and 50 go to the writer of the music, right?
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
He took 25.
Oh.
And you took the other 25.
And he didn't do nothing to the beat.
He didn't add nothing? No salt shakers, no cowbells?
Nigga, I make that beat right now myself.
I'm just saying. Just need a little bit more cowbells.
Cowbells, nigga.
And he gets and that was 20 years ago. He been getting 25% of my publishing for that record. I still get good checks from it because it sold so many units.
Right.
But so does he.
Yeah.
Right.
He gets the same shit I get.
From a bunch of different dudes, apparently.
Yes.
You know, this really reminds me of how much music is an asset. You know, a lot of times we get into the placement chasing game, we get into the credit game, but sometimes we can actually forget that this is something that we could pass down from generation to generation, this asset, this intellectual property we can hand over. And, you know, I do understand the, you know, frustration of Self-Service here, that the fact that, you know, someone else who didn't really do much to the music gets such a large percentage, a large portion of what's out there of such major hit songs. At the same time, I'm sure the branding of Irv Gotti and his connections did quite a bit. Excuse me if I'm just making assumptions, but from what I'm seeing, from what I'm hearing, that Irv Gotti brand also helped to push the record forward. But yeah, you know, I can't really argue with that. I can see both sides of why Irv would want such a percentage, and also why Self-Service would, you know, see things a certain way, like, you know, he didn't do much to this, so why are you getting such a huge cut? But let's get back to the clip.
So is that something that you like, yo, because then, you know, there's certain artists that right now, Meek Mill is kind of feeling the something was wrong.
Yeah.
My money ain't adding up. Let me go back to this contract. In those situations, I gotta wonder, would you have had the opportunity without? Like, would we have Meek Mill without him signing to Maybach? Would we have heard Self-Service without Irv Gotti moving around with the records, or you connecting with him?
Well, I got with Irv after I did the Onyx shit.
Right.
So I did Black Trump first, then I did all the Onyx shit. And Irv happened to be the A&R for Onyx at that time at Def Jam. So when I had my relationship with Fredro and Sticky. So they brought me in and said, we using these beats. But they said our A&R is Irv Gotti. When he found out it was me, the nigga he grew up with, he said, yo, I didn't know you make beats. And then the relationship just turned a little better from there. You understand?
Right.
But I was already moving before I got with Irv.
Right. So you had leverage.
Yeah, I was already, you know what I'm saying? I had placements already before I got one.
So
he would have been here.
I would have still been rocking, but I definitely wouldn't have did the DMX record. And And I did Fat Joe and Remy Ma.
So is that why you gave him the 25%? You just let it ride?
Basically, I didn't, no, hold on first. Hold on.
Hey,
No, you asked the perfect question.
Yeah.
I didn't give him
okay, he just took it.
He took it.
I would have gave him 5.
I would have gave him something because
fee,
the
you know what I'm saying?
opportunity was
Right.
through him.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, and it's only right, like
Facts.
to play fair, but 25, I don't think it should do that, but you still got to ask me.
Right.
Don't just initiate it just because you the A&R and got to put the paperwork in. You put the paperwork in the way you want to put it in, because and then mind you too, I don't want everybody to get misconstrued. I never was in the studio with X when X did the record. I played the record for Chris Gotti. Chris said, "Yo, this shit crazy," and played it for Irv. Irv said, "This shit crazy. I'm gonna go play it for X." X had the relationship with with Irv. I never had a relationship at first with X.
Right.
So Irv is the nigga that took it to him. So the only thing X knew, God bless the dead, was Irv bought it to him.
Right.
So it looks like, you understand?
Facts.
So it looks like that. So I never was there, and I never, you know what I'm saying, got a chance to for niggas to know what the situation is. But still, if I trust you to go do that, at least give me enough respect to say, yo, I'm gonna take 25, or I'm gonna take 15, or I'm gonna take something.
Right.
And it's only right. Like, I know that, which I wouldn't have been mad at because his opportunities coming from you.
So it looks like history is repeating itself. You know, that's the same thing that a lot of loop makers and bigger producers are going through right now, right to this day. I promise you, if you look hard enough, you're going to find some type of discrepancy. And back in the day, they didn't have the platforms to just put each other on blast and totally crash out on each other and, you know, kind of drag each other through the mud publicly the way we do now due to social media. And, you know, I wish a lot of people can be able to handle this stuff behind the scenes, but at the same time, I understand the need to kind of speak up and let it be known that, you know, somebody can't just take advantage of you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit like and subscribe. My name is Desmond A, and I'll be back with more great videos. Peace. Wait, before you go, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com where you can get free FL Studio Patcher plugins, free loops, free guides, everything you need to level up your music production. Once again, go to DesmondASounds.com or click the link in the description. Go there now and totally transform your music production.